We gotta figure out
Now
how
we're
to.
live.
We gotta figure out how to
Now we're
seamlessly
live.
transition that countdown into live.
Right, exactly. Oh, holy crap. So anyway, what I was saying before is that we've got somebody taking over the YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, but it's basically it's going to start with YouTube first to leverage the content. And he reached out to us. When I tell you the setup, it's like 5K, and then that's it. Considering what he's doing, it's like he's not making money on 5K. Plus, put everything on, Amex. So if he fucks me, I'll just, that's it. It's like, all right, it's coming back. So, there's really no risk, but it's nice. It's like what I'm saying is like, even for what you're doing, you just got to create a lot of, you just got to film content.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is. I know
I'm
we were
actually gonna
talking about
start
the
filming a lot
survival
more
stuff.
content.
Yeah, just start. Just start filming stuff.
I actually got a microphone, like a nice microphone that I was going to start using, and I'm going to actually start producing content 3 times a week. That's my goal.
Okay. Again, don't I see Clayton's waiting to come on board. We'll put you on a second, Clayton. Just fucking. Just remember to do it and just start filming stuff. And don't set yourself to a schedule where you're like, okay, because now that it's warm again, I'll do the elite workouts of the week.
Right. Yeah, no. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be a quick blurb. Actually, for people that don't know, my degree's in military history, right? And so I'm going to do these historical blurbs on like military stuff and like self-defense stuff and natural disasters and just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I said it's great. And you're just you'll wind up getting, just the more you do it, it's like stand-up comedy, just fucking just do it, lay it down, throw it out there.
And the nice thing about like the modern systems is you can record it whenever and then post it, like set to schedule a post, right?
Correct. Yes.
So it makes it so much easier. So I could like record a whole bunch in advance and just set them to schedule a post. So
So I'm gonna add Clayton in. There he is.
Hey Clayton,
how's it going, fellas?
It's going good. So welcome everybody to KOBK. We got Clayton, we got Josh. We're just talking about, just creating some content and, just putting it out there. I said, it's like, what's amazing now, granted, there's a ton of crap out there. We can all freaking complain about it, but, you can find your own little niche in this world where, I'm watching, like, I don't know, like I get some weird, like, it's funny how many people watch Beard Meets Food. I don't know if you ever watch him on YouTube.
Mm-mm.
All he does, he's actually kind of jacked. He just eats like, he does like all food challenges and crap like that. Like,
nice.
And I just find it fascinating. Right. And it's funny because like we were doing something, one of my nephew was here. He goes to NYU, Tisch school. So he's like, hey, can I use your house to film? We're like, yeah, no problem. So I was, his mom's boyfriend was here and we were talking and he's Italian, right? So we don't know, but, we find out like, we watch the same stupid guy on YouTube and my son watches the same dude on YouTube, right? I'm like, who the, but
the world is connected.
Right. And it's like, who would watch a guy eating the world's largest burrito? Where you're sitting there.
I got like 5 million followers.
Well, that's probably more exciting than watching golf on TV.
I mean, there's something to it. I mean, it's like you're watching these guys. It's like, oh, he's got a strategy. He's like, he's got to, put the bread, the gravy. He's like doing like this whole thing. And you're like, yeah, that's somebody. I'm watching. I thought it's fascinating. So like people are watching this stuff, and it's like even with what we're doing. What I was saying before, Clayton, it's like I have somebody taking over the YouTube channel. It's kind of just pump us up and blow it out there because I have no idea what I'm doing. When it comes to, we actually might get more than like a couple hundred views on our podcast moving forward because he's gonna like he's going through all the content and just kind of just how it's tagged, how it's put, like all that crap, and he's what was interesting is like he reached out to us. He does BJJ. He's like into the space, and he was kind of looking at what else was out there, and he's like, okay, you're the least, knucklehead that I've seen. I mean, there's other good dudes out there for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's like, besides, that, it's, how, what I've kind of built blindly so far. I mean, what the hell do I know, right? I'm just throwing shit out.
He's probably like, challenge accepted. Least listened to podcast on the interwebs.
Right. Yes. It's like, I'm gonna double your listeners. Yeah, okay, great. Nobody like
great. I went from 10 to 20.
12. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, woo, good times. So
double digits, baby. Double digits.
Exactly. Hell yeah. So yeah, man. So it's an interesting week. So my son was on spring break, and I don't know if you've been following the news. He was, let me just pull this up here. Where's my stuff? Where's podcast SHIT? There it is. Okay, good. All right, good. So he I just wait for it. So he was down. I don't know if you've been following the girl that was in Punta Cana that disappeared.
A little bit. Yeah, I saw something.
All right, yeah. So she was staying at the same resort at the same time as my son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obviously a horrible tragedy. She went missing. Originally, they think that she drowned. Of course, there's, foul play. And of course, the first thing I say to my son, I'm like, you got an alibi? I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, dude. So what happened is, and again, our hearts, go out to these parents because, I've got a daughter. Josh got daughters. I don't know, Clayton.
I got one daughter and 3 sons and 2 grandkids.
Right. Damn, girls. Dude.
Yeah.
So raising a girl, I mean, it's like before I had a daughter, I had my ideas of what that should be. But then after I had a daughter, there's certain things you're like, no, boyfriend, blah, 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 all shit. I'm like,
ain't gonna date till you're 30. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That bullshit. Right. So my daughter went to school clear across the country. And she's kind of always had a boyfriend as far as like from her, I don't know, junior year, kind of with a couple months breaks in between. Dude, I'm going to tell you, I've never been like, it's like, because what happens is she doesn't put herself in certain situations where, where women get, in trouble, which is usually going out. And like she'll go to, and plus she went to an art school, so it wasn't like the regular college experience. So, she wasn't going to like football games or, tailgates or frat parties, crap like that. And it was during COVID, over half of it. So there's that. And, so I kind of, dodged a bullet there. I mean, yeah, she's in Hollywood. Yeah. She is, trying to break into acting. But, at least, she has a nice boyfriend. And, at the end of the day, I was like, look, dude, I'm like, I just looked at this guy and I'm like, thank you for your service. She is not.
Yeah, well, the thing about it, nobody's ever going to be good enough for your baby girl. I mean,
Right. But Clayton, what comes down to it's like, is she happy?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's really all that matters. And that's all that matters to me. Dude, we'll go away on vacation and like she's breaking his balls and I'm like, she could be breaking my balls. And I'm like, bro, thank you so much.
Like, she's all yours now, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the father yeah, bro. That's why the father gives away the daughter.
Yep.
It's like at the wedding. You're like, here you go. No backsies, bro.
Finally, I get to use my own bathroom. Yeah, I've never seen it before.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And again, like I said, like they're all good on paper, Like, as I said, I'm like, I've never had like problems. I've been lucky. Um, and again, not to say, look, because I know what happens. It's part of like, she never like snuck out her room, and like shimmy down the drain pipe. I've never had to deal with that. I know it happens, and I don't.
Lucky.
Yeah, dude, it happens, man. I was a guy in the car waiting for the girl to come down the drain pipe. I know the circumstances that surround that shit, and it's a reality. I was lucky. I'm not telling you there's any fucking magic to any of that. I just tried to make her as high maintenance as possible.
Good strategy. Good strategy.
Man, you just don't want to raise low-hanging fruit.
That's right. And that's a good point, actually. I mean, it's funny, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I did something, and this wasn't my idea. I actually got it from her pediatrician when she was born. So when she was about to date, go on a date, I took her out to dinner, but I showed up at my own house. I knocked on the door and I like, hi, is Olivia here? Hi, I'm such and such. And I took her out, opened the door for her, pulled the chair out, the whole thing. I'm like, this is how you should be treated on a date. At least I'm like, this is where, and like I said, we went, had dinner, it was nice, brought her home, walked her home, said goodnight, and that was it. So at least she knew something.
A measuring stick, a baseline.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, look,
good
man,
idea.
I stole it. Right? It was like,
hey, it's fair. You're a dad.
Right.
You can steal whatever you need to steal.
Whatever. So at least she knows, that like, okay, at least at some point I go, look, I get it. Your kids now, they're both working and they're trying to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
But you're like, you've got a girl. And the other thing that I did with her, especially, boys are different. It's just how it is, trying to raise them up to be a man, but like girls, I'm like, before she was going out, I made like, there's going to be alcohol, there's going to be drugs. So of course we always talk about that stuff. I mean, I made her a watermelon mojito. Right. And I'm like, here you go. I didn't give her my like old man bourbon. I'm like, to make her like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm like, this is how alcohol is going to present itself to you.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, wow, that's really good. I go, yeah. I go, honestly, like 3 of those, I go, somebody's going to crawl on top of you. I'm like, you're like 110 pounds. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. She's like, really? I go, yeah, really. So, just know that, and, again, growing up in, who all of us are, we're like, they're hearing the closed container, don't lose sight of your drink, right? Don't leave your friends. Don't do this. Don't go with somebody you don't know. I'm like, this is how I'm like, the chances are, I'm like, as a woman, you're like, you meet a guy, I'm like, is he going to rape me or is he going to be like the man of my dreams? Right? Like you got to like kind of like start figuring that out. And it's fucking hard. It's hard. So like when I saw this story that happened with this girl who is now they're suspecting foul play. So, I mean, it's awful, right? I mean, she was, on spring break. The last they know, they have her on film on surveillance camera with some guy. They went swimming. They still, she may have drowned. I'm like, there's so many elements to this, but they can't find the body. It may be in the reef. They had Navy divers out there. They can't find her. I mean, the last time they saw her, so what happened at the resort, I know the last 2 nights they were there, that the power went out. And the only problem I have with this article is that they're referring to the Ryu Hotel and Resort in Punta Cana as a high-end luxury resort. It is not. I mean, talk about that. I mean, that's like, whoever's handling the PR for the company, kudos for them, because the place was look, it's a place where kids go for spring break. They pay like $1,000 and they stay the week, and they can eat and drink all they want. And they set up stuff for them and things like that. And you're like, so, the power was out like the last 2 nights. So the last night they were there, it's been hot. Like everybody was hanging out, they wound up hanging out on the beach. They have her with some guy who, they supposedly, like, according to him, they went swimming and then she disappeared, and he was so hammered that he threw up and passed out on a bed on the beach. So now they're saying
about like Natalie Holloway story all over again.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, this is what you're thinking, of course, right? And here's like the last surveillance cameras captured her. They found like she didn't have her phone, she didn't have her wallet. Which again, if you're going swimming, why would you have it? They're obviously like hooking up, and they just, they're quite plausible. Let's go swimming. They get separated. He's hammered, and he just passes out, right? So, I mean, of course, like, I gotta think because she's dual citizenship, Indian and U.S., and she's living in like the Washington D.C. area, her parents have got to have a lot of bank. They're so the dad flew down there. I can't imagine what this guy's going through, but here you are with you've got this I don't know, beautiful girl, and we've got daughters, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm just like, thank God. I mean, it could happen at any time to any one of them, but it's just thank God, that I can't. So, when you're trying to coach your kids, you can only do so much, right? It's like, where they just want, I mean, because this is like an innocent like hookup. Who knows what the hell happened? I mean, my gut tells me they're going to find her body someplace, only because the guy that she was with was like another spring breaker who was like from Iowa, or he was there on vacation. I mean, he's 24, he's a little older. And yet, it didn't seem like this was like some type of, kidnapping, sex trafficking type of deal. I don't know. Thoughts on this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if he was so drunk that he supposedly threw up and then passed out, she was probably drunk too, and you mix that with water, and that's just a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at
it's at night, you're in the water. I mean, especially if it's there on the beach, like rip current. Hello,
goodbye. And it was rough. It's the Atlantic Ocean. There were some waves that were crashing. You said that like a wave took her out. I'm like, look, I mean, I like grew up like surfing, and we're in the water like all year, and I'm like, it's like, look, unless I'm like tied to a stick or, it can get over your. A lot of people don't realize, especially if they don't like spend any time in the ocean, especially, where it's like, you think you can make it, but it saps your energy so much faster than you can. Like, you got to be like, you got to operate within like 30%, 20% chance of making it back, not 50-50, not 60-40.
Yeah. I mean, those of us who spend a lot of time in the ocean, one good wave, smack your head on the ground or something. Yeah. Like, I mean, how many times you get tossed around and you're like, which way's up? So, and then add to the fact that now you might be drunk. Like, oh man, forget about it.
Dude, a buddy of mine, right, is down in Rehoboth, and he's out. It's a guy's weekend. He's like around late 50s. I guess at that time about 60. They're like body surfing and shit, and he winds up. Like, this is like 4 feet from like right close to shore, winds up getting dropped into the surf, like pretty much breaks his neck. And he like couldn't even, all of a sudden he's like, I couldn't feel my body from the neck down.
Right.
He's like, I'm in like 2 feet of water about to drown. Trying to yell to my friends. Dude, they airlifted him out in a helicopter to Bethesda, Maryland, right? And where he's fine. He's walking around. He's good. But he's like, holy shit. I was just fucking around in the surf and got hammered. I'm like, yeah, that shit is real. Yeah. So, you like, I even like, dude, I remember one time we were out in Montauk and I was just fucking around and we were at a friend's house on the beach, no lifeguards, and I got caught in a rip current. I'm like, holy shit. Next thing I know, I'm like,
scary as hell.
Swim parallel, relax, stay on the surface, float. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
And then I pulled myself out. I'm like, holy shit. And I came back in. I was like, Angela. I'm like, yeah, that was close.
Yeah, me and my buddies got caught in a rip while we were boogie boarding, and we didn't realize it, but we ended up like a mile out in the ocean and like a mile down from where we started. And we had no idea. The Coast Guard came out and got us, and they were like, "Hey,
oh my God."
They were like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we were like, "Just body surfing." They're like, "No, you're not."
Right, exactly. You're drowning.
Yeah, they were like, "We're just chilling, because we're just sitting on our flotation device." But they're like, "Nah, get in the boat." And we're like, "Well, we're not that far from the shore." And they're like, "You have no idea how far you are."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it took like 10 minutes. They're like, what pier were you guys at? And we like told them what lifeguard tower or whatever. And they were like, oh my gosh. Like it was like a 10-minute drive on the boat. And then they're like, got us in kind of as close as they could. And they're like, can you guys swim the rest of the way? And we're like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And they're like, no, you're an idiot.
Exactly. We'll be seeing you later. Yeah, man. I said, like, you can't like fuck around. When the red flag's up, you don't do shit.
Yeah.
And that's where like people, and I think what happens a lot of times is, especially if, like potentially like this situation, people who aren't used to the water and don't have any idea. They think it's the same calm ocean they went in that afternoon. And it changes in like a freaking second. And it could be, and you could have like, it could be beautiful there, but you get an offshore storm, and next thing you know, the swell's coming in. Yeah. And you're like, holy crap, man. Yeah. When you see a lot of guys with like wetsuits and fucking surfboards, I'm like, don't go swimming.
No.
It's not like, that's what's happening next. Now, Josh, you sent over this little nugget.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate.
Yeah, holy shit. I mean, there's some stuff to unpack here.
Yeah, this is like 10 minutes from my house. Well, maybe like 20 minutes from my house.
Oh. Hey, speaking of which, whatever happened to that quote-unquote active shooter at the church?
Oh, I told you about all this stuff that happened after.
Is he convicted? Is he?
Oh, I don't know anything like that. Yeah, I don't get any follow-up about stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure there were charges, and I'm sure something happened, but it was probably minor.
Yeah, of course. Like, idiot.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask. I'll ask my buddy on Sunday.
Right. So, this girl was killed and dismembered after meeting a man on social media. So, according to the story.
Oh no, this isn't the one. Never mind. I was thinking another one that just happened by my house.
Oh no, you didn't send it. You sent me this.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll do this one first, and then I'll tell you that one.
Okay. So apparently, this girl met this guy online, and he was a 35-year-old Stephen Gress on Valentine's Day. And after she met him, and then these two fucking pillars of society wind up taking her to their home.
So she goes to their house and hangs out, and then goes home.
Right.
And goes to their house and hangs out, and then goes home. I think it was like on the third visit. Supposedly, if you read an article, there was a argument or something, and somehow she got caught in the crossfire and was killed. And then they dismembered her and dropped her in a dumpster.
Oh.
And then that dude, like I guess like a week later, that dude was arrested for basically like domestic dispute abuse or whatever. Right. And so then they're like, "Hey, you're also wanted for this murder too."
Right. So once somebody like is, and this is we talk about parenting and you're like, and again unless I live in the house, it's hard to look. I used to sneak out and do crazy, do shit all the time, right? I mean, this is just part of being a youth. it's like where, once I was on my bike, where the hell I would ride, who the hell knows? Once in a car, forget it. As long as I was home, it's fine. I mean, now, it's, who knows what, I don't know what's going on in the house. Who knows what this girl's telling her parents or parent. I don't know what the home situation is. The only thing is, it's, there's a mechanism in the child who's 16. She's 16. She's not 6. All right. So, there's a certain, when I was 16, I was pretty savvy as far as like, who I thought was, for lack of a better word, like, cool or, kind of weird or off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely tell. So there's a 16-year-old girl who is enjoying the company of these two pieces of shit. Right. So I guess that's the bigger problem, because I don't think, again, thinking about my daughter she wouldn't, I hate to use the kid's word cringe, but there's like no way she's engaging in, at 16, she's barely talking to me.
It's crazy though. So like, I don't know if we talked about this like last year-ish, but there was a friend of my kids who basically did this. She met some dude through online gaming and got in his car. He said he was like 20, turned out to be like almost 40. And
what?
He drove her all the way from Texas to Colorado.
What?
Yeah, then thank goodness they ended up tracking him down and getting her back.
Holy shit.
But like, this was like somebody I've met.
Right. And the family, I'm assuming, right?
A little bit, yeah. I don't hang out with them a whole lot, but like my kids know them really well. My wife knows them really well.
So how did did you ever get her side of the story as far as like how?
No, it was immediately like, she's going to counseling. They don't want to talk about it, like all that kind of stuff.
I get that.
So, I got all my information like third hand or second hand from like everybody else involved, because I've only met her a couple times. They go to jujitsu together and stuff like that, and they're homeschooled and stuff. And so like they'll like hang out sometimes, but it's not like a family I go and hang out with.
Right.
But yeah, and so I don't know all the details, but yeah. Okay. Well, and then I guess one of the things that was making them really mad, making the family mad, was the cops were like, "Oh, we recovered her," and like, no harm, no foul, basically, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Everything's fine.
They didn't do shit, like any trafficking shit, any.
The person got arrested, lines? Right? The person got arrested.
Kidnapping.
Yeah. The person definitely got arrested, but they were like, "Oh, she's totally safe, like no problems." And the family was like, "We wish they would stop saying that, because that's not even close to true. Like there was actually."
Yeah. How was she? Right. We don't know what happened. We don't.
Yeah.
Right. What, you don't know what happened to the girl. I think man, a lot of these dudes just don't want to do paperwork.
Yeah.
So,
I don't. So, yeah, they were very upset with the police department, obviously, with because they were basically just trying to play it down. I think they were trying to like not create a panic, and be like, all this crap happened to this girl, blah 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 blah. But yeah, I don't know all the details, but like, yeah, that happened.
Of course.
That was just last year.
Holy crap. Yeah. Again, it's like there's a lot of people out here, out there. I mean, you're really trying to like teach kids to like, stay within your herd, right? So it's like, even if it's like, don't leave the herd, don't leave the group. We do like it's family safe, but it's really kind of common sense stuff. But they need like hard and fast rules. You're like, look, I'm like, this person is outside the circle. This person is outside the herd. You don't, they don't get access to you. Mm-hmm. You need to like, they need to meet us before any of that shit.
Yeah. It was like that total grooming stuff, where it's like, it just like slowly escalates and slowly escalates and slowly escalates.
How did he get access?
Oh, he literally was just like, hey, we should go like run away together, basically.
This was like all online.
Yeah, it was all planned. And it was like,
I mean, that's like their interaction was virtual. It wasn't like he
100%
was a coach.
virtual. Never seen the person. It was like they met playing video games over like voice chat, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew over the course of months. Like they ended up getting all the chat records and everything, and they were like, yeah, no, it started as like like, oh hey, let's be friends, and then it was like, hey, you should run away with me, and I'm gonna pull up to this corner, and you sneak out of your house and just get in the car and let's go. And that's what happened.
I mean, just let's again, not to, but it's like, they're probably so, these predators are like casting a wide net, right? And they're looking for people who are, victims who are receptive to this.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's definitely something happening there that, again, whether it's, you don't know, because some kids are wired differently, like we talked about last week. Look, I got 2 kids. They are like very different in how they handle shit, and, it's like they don't, it was, so you don't know. Like Mike points out, yeah, his son's never had social media, email, cell phones, gaming systems until they're both 18. There's like wisdom there, at some point where you're like, do we let kids get access to it? Again, it gets hard because, my kid, like my kids went to school like 2 towns over for middle school, right? So, I mean, a cell phone was kind of part of comms. It was like, coming to get you, where are you? Like I needed to communicate with them, right, for like tactical and practical, right? So it's like, there's that. I mean, we do like the apps like Net Nanny and things like that, and making sure, they're, but then I also raised kind of like wise asses, where they were like, if they don't know you, they're like, fuck you. Kind of thing, where my daughter didn't play video games, right? So we never had that. She played like Club Penguin. You know what I mean? I was like, that was the extent of that, right? And I'm like, we're solving missions and getting puffles and doing all this other shit. But other than that, she wasn't into gaming, so her shit was like all like, again, like Snapchat. I mean, that's where they are. Most of that now is driven by people they actually know.
Right.
So they don't have like, they have my daughter like now has a LinkedIn and a Facebook account. My son doesn't have a Facebook account. He's got an Instagram account. They both have Instagram accounts. I mean, now she does it more for like professional, but it's not like they're not on there. Like they're not, my son will snap. And then that's it, because they'll just communicate with people that they actually know. Somebody they don't know, they're like, "Who the hell are you?" No. So there's definitely something. I mean, you're getting destroyed, and I'm like, some guy was trying to talk to like my daughter, my teenage daughter. I kind of pity the fool. That like
he's outmatched.
Right, and dude, he's just gonna fucking destroy you. So I'm like, just
run while you can.
Right. It's like, okay, loser, blah, 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 and be like, done. But yeah, I mean, there are kids who are, just kind of susceptible to that. And that's it. And then Mike's chiming in, which is great. He's like, yeah, there's risk, wanted to, limit their digital footprint, as much as you could. Yeah, it's hard though. I'm like,
it's hard with today's society where everything's digital,
everything's digital, and that's the world we live in. And plus, even now, it's like, now my son's looking, he's getting internships, and Olivia, my daughter's working. I mean, she's an adult. I mean, that's kind of, what happens, but they start to, use that. But again, like even to sit there and think like, I love guys who are like kind of like off the grid, but like have a Facebook account. I'm like, bro, I'm like, dude, I'm like, they know, if they want to know, they know. I don't know if you guys ever heard of like Pegasus.
Mm-mm.
So Gavin DeBecker, who wrote Gift of Fear. Yeah, which is a great book. Highly recommend everybody. Yep. It's really good. I mean, it's timeless. I reference it a lot in training. Yep. You know, he's like, there's Pegasus where all they need is like your phone number and they can just get everything. Mm-hmm. And now there's Pegasus 2, which is like the next level, which of course
only needs half your phone number.
Right. I mean, it's like, you know, unless you're like, you know, and again, we're going to talk about like Ted Kaczynski. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, he wasn't wrong on a lot of shit. I'm not advocating random bombing, but you know, when you talk about like, so he's very much like in his manifesto, he's talking about how he saw a car stop at a blinking red light in the middle of the night. So there's no cars coming either way. And he's looking at this and he's like, technology will fucking end us and destroy us. Yeah. And he's not like, I could see how that could happen. You know, of course, you know, Ted Kaczynski was part of MK Ultra and he was at Harvard and they completely mind fucked him with LSD. And, you know, I don't know if you know anything about that. There's actually a pretty accurate story. I think Netflix did a bit on it.
There's a lot of information out on it now.
Yeah.
They actually declassified a bunch of it recently.
They did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you listen to this stuff where you're like, wow. So the CIA was like working it, and they're talking about like hypnosis, you know, Manchurian candidate shit. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they spent decades on this.
They did.
So do you think they got worse or better?
They just got way better at it. The technology is just helping.
You could, like, someone's we were talking about like the Trump assassination, shit like that. I'm like, you know how hard it was to find Oswald in like 1960? You know, how easy it is to find him now?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just put in a fucking AI find a guy.
Yeah. My brother was showing me on AI just like the subliminal messaging that AI can produce. It's insane.
Like what?
Oh, I forget what it was, but it was like these like 4 women like walking, you know, it was like an advertisement for like shopping or something. It was like 4 women walking down the street. And I was just kind of like, okay, cool. And then he was like, cool, now check this out. And then it was like the standard image, and then it was like, and here's the subliminal message, and they like, you know, outlined the subliminal message, and it was like shop more, like written in like their body posture, you know? And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's like your brain picks up on those cues if you don't realize it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And dude, they've been doing that forever.
Yeah.
Like they would put sex in ice cubes of a drink ad. They would do all kinds of crazy shit.
Because they know it works. AI is just making it better.
Right. Yeah. You know, and it's again, it's real. It's here. You know, when was Judgment Day in Terminator? I think like I was like 20 years back or something like that. You know, I'm like, holy shit.
I have this book actually. It's about mind programming that like the government and organizations use to you know do all that stuff to program you and like how to unplug from it. I haven't read it yet, but I really need to.
Well, they do shit. So you know, you're like they're doing like it's like you look at it like hypnosis, right? There's people who are susceptible to it. And you know the guys that will do like the comedy, you know, hypnotist shit, and it's like, you know, some people are like fine, but there's some people who like legit works. I mean, and they're like, and you're like, yeah, I'm like, okay, so we can program these people to do these things, add some mind altering shit, dude. I've been listening to like 3 guys talk about even like shit like remote viewing and how they still use it. And for those who don't know what remote viewing is, that's like they show you a map and they're like, okay, there's a base here. This is the target. What's here? And like in their mind, they go there and give you real time shit about what's happening there. You know, and as insane as that sounds, our government is using this. So there has to be something that's happening there, or else, you know.
Yeah, if it had 0 success, they would never use it, right?
Yeah, well, it's everyone remembers the movie The Men That Stare at Goats.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was based on that and like Vietnam era shit. So, that was like fucking 50 years ago. Yeah. Holy crap. And they're still doing it. So, that telepathy and,
well, then we talked about how, you get your AI profile, right? There's so much data on you now, they can profile you super, super easy. They know they can just plug in, like, I want somebody just like this, and boom, they've got an entire list of people that meet the qualification.
Interesting. Elon was talking about going to Mars with Rogan, and he's like, he goes, well, he's like, we'll go there. He goes, but, at least consciously, meaning like, we can map, Clayton's mind and be like, okay, Clayton, you're going to Mars, but we're putting you in this fucking robot or whatever. I'm like, you're going, just this thing, this flesh fucking puppet isn't making the trip.
Yeah.
So you're like, I get it. I mean, it's like, the shit that is like, they're kind of coming out. I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about JFK. We're talking about Epstein files. We're supposed to get all this information. I'll be shocked if half this stuff like hits.
Well, not only that, but how much of it has already been scrubbed? Like, what are you going to get from it?
Right.
Yeah. They release information all the time. That's like, 90% of it's blacked out.
It's all redacted.
Right.
What's in an active case, right? You're like, if it's in an active and ongoing investigation, we can't release this, we can't release this, we can't release this. But if somebody's accused of, having sex with a minor, I mean, look, even if you're if you're a teacher and you bang a student, your name's in the fucking paper, you're done.
Yeah.
Right. These guys having sex with minors, but they're not, you know what I mean? There's like, obviously like different levels of, shit that's happening where, you got like, okay, you're hooked up, we're going to put a gag order on this shit until we get this thing sorted out. It's been, I said, it's been interesting. Again, still, liking what's happening with everything that's going on. It's fun to kind of watch the posturing back and forth. Now we've got look, not to get, there's a ceasefire now in Ukraine, right? That happened. I love people yelling about the cost of eggs when we killed about 100 million chickens and turkeys in July. And they haven't put it together that it takes about 7 months minimum for chicken to mature to make an egg. So we're looking at April, June to start making more eggs. It's like, and it's just like, just let's like let things happen. I think, it's, like everything is Josh won't get into it, but he got hit with this, with the freeze, and that sucks. And I feel awful. Again, hopefully the ship gets righted at some point. Yeah, it is. And being somebody who's quote unquote been affected by the federal hiring freeze, it's like, I'm not mad about it because like, I'd rather see the freeze happen and then sort stuff out than be like, well, now I can't get this job. Right. And that's the mature,
that's the mature response, right?
You fucking have to. It's like, look, we got a problem. I get why everything's like, hey, we just stop.
Yeah.
And let's just, get something going. And then you're listening to like Elon. He's like, yeah, look, he goes, with a lot of the shit that's happening, he goes, even if they sent me, he goes, let's say somebody's doing Ebola research. I don't even know if they're making a better Ebola virus or trying to stop it. He goes, but if they tell me they're actually doing it, he goes, even if you sent AI pictures of what you were doing, he goes, we kind of would let it go, but a lot of people like are just like, fuck you, we're not doing it. I mean, that's not how jobs work. You need like accountability.
People are like, oh, I got tenure in the government, I can kill somebody and get away with it.
Right.
That needs to go away.
It's fucking done. And I don't understand why people fight this. I don't understand why people are upset that he wants to get rid of the IRS. I don't understand.
Why are we having personal income tax? That's literally theft.
Yes, I don't understand why, you would be opposed to this. And as again, usually the people who protest the most are the ones who are guilty of it the most. I'm like, everyone who's screaming and dude, you're gonna be exposed. I'm like,
if you got nothing to worry about, who cares, right?
Right. I'm like, how do you, the biggest disappointment is what's his name? Fucking the eye patch. Senator, what's his the former Navy SEAL from Texas. Now I gotta look him up. Hold on.
Yeah, you should.
yeah. It's gonna take me 2 seconds.
Eye patch senator.
Yeah.
Crenshaw. Mike says Crenshaw.
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw. Yes, correct. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah. So actually, one of our instructors actually served with him, and I'm listening to this guy, and she's talking about, they're talking about how congressmen, people in the House and the Senate are enriching themselves with the stock market. He's like, why shouldn't I be able to, earn a living? I've never had more than 20,000 in the stock market. Then you look it up, he's got like 1.2 million. His net worth is like 20 million. And you're like, dude, why? What the hell? He's the one that threatened. He's like, he said he would kill Tucker Carlson if he saw him. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? But these are the guys, like, he was like, wanted to keep the Ukraine war going. You're like, look, so it's like, it's on both sides.
Yeah.
And it's tough. You're getting people who are enriching themselves, like Mitch McConnell. I'm like, dude,
the money starts talking, and it's hard to let it go.
It's hard to let it go, man. You're making 175 grand a year. Now you're worth fucking 100 million, 10 million, 15 million. And one of the guys was talking about one of the podcasts I listened to, where they're like, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. I'm like, these are like people who they're still operating like it's like 30 years ago. Like, they got the media, you know what I mean? They know no one's going to find this out. And then the internet's undefeated, right? People are just like, hey, motherfucker, blah, 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 and it's like posting all this shit. And you're like, yeah, you just, you got, we see that, Pfizer donated like, 2 million to your campaign.
He never paid me anything. And it's like, oh, well, we're this like $2.5 million payment.
Like, there you go. Oh, okay. And look, do I think maybe, we should have a little bit more tact with doing this? Perhaps. But again, all this is like political theater, when this shit is happening. You're watching this shit in real time with tariffs and, what's happening, and then them buckling. And somebody, another person I was friends with, they're like, well, there's instability in the market. I'm like, yeah, good. Fuck them. I'm like, they are, instability in the market. These are the same guys that have been making money off this forever. There should be instability in the market because you don't know what's happening. And, it's got to get fixed. So that's going to happen too. So if you're thinking like, oh, what the Dow Jones or, the price of eggs and this other crap, it's like the same old crap. And we're in the process. We talked about this last time where you're like, this is like month 2 of like a 20-year process.
Yeah, it'll probably never get finished.
Yeah.
No. No. So, but on that note, I got some fun stuff to look at.
Oh, yeah.
So
while you do that, let me tell you about the thing that happened near my house.
Oh, go. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, you can Google it if you want, but there's a middle school just like down the road from my house, and some girl got her throat slit by another student.
What?
Yeah. She died at the hospital.
Oh my God. I get like what age students?
Middle school, so maybe maximum age 14. I don't know how old they were.
It's a boy killing a girl killing.
I'm not positive. I'm not positive who killed who, They haven't, because they're minors and stuff, they're not releasing a whole bunch of information.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
But what I have heard is that, through the grapevine and people that, obviously I know people that go to that school. And through the grapevine, I'm hearing that the girl that got killed, that she was like a big time bully. And I guess the kid had just had enough.
Lost his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play stupid games and win stupid prizes sometimes.
Super unfortunate. Super unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my experience with the new anti-bullying policies.
It doesn't work.
It sucks. It's bullshit.
It doesn't work.
Because it's like zero tolerance, which means everybody fucking gets punished. Right?
Or they just don't want to deal with it. And so nothing happens.
And nothing happens. Yeah. Right. So, there's paperwork. I've seen time and time again this fail. When we were growing up, it was like, okay, Josh, you had a problem with Clayton. What happened?
We'd either talk it out or we'd like duke it out.
We'd be friends. You called me a douchebag. You said my mom's a whore. Sorry. It's like, it's like,
and next
like
week,
two things happened. Either we became friends or
like, next week we'd be hanging out together.
Like, we're just going to leave each other alone now.
Right. And you got to we said and this is why it's like, like some of the shit around, violence never solved anything, but it sure stopped a lot of shit.
Stuff,
when we were growing up, we're like, violence is never the answer. I mean, sometimes violence is the only answer.
Sometimes in fact, it is.
In fact, the reality
I've always looked at it.
Go.
I've always looked at it like, whoever said violence never solves any problems has obviously never solved certain kinds of problems.
Right.
I mean,
and
sometimes that's just the only way to go.
Right. And, people are really not understanding that the only thing that's holding civilization together is fucking violence.
Yep.
Right. If you want to go down, you want to fucking, kick in the door of a fucking store and take all the fucking sandwiches,
right.
There's going to be somebody coming with fucking violence to stop you. Right. You want to fucking, rape somebody. You want to fucking, that for every law there's a bullet behind it, right? So to sit there and think like violence is better by like violence is the only thing that's keeping you safe. Is the specter
threat of violence?
Yeah, that's it. Right.
The problem with the bullying, that I see, and I was talking about this with someone just the other day because of this, is that you get the issue is that it gets to the point where the person feels like they can't defend themselves, right? And so they need an equalizer, right? They get so beat down, whether they're physically capable or not.
Right.
They get so beat down, they're like, now they need an equalizer, right? Like, it has to be a knife. It has to be a gun because that's the only way that I can actually defend myself against this person, right?
Nobody's helping me. I'm alone.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And this person's either bigger than me or they've been beat down so many times, or it could be psychological. Maybe it is physical. Maybe the person is just that much bigger.
Right.
But that's what it comes down to is, they're like, I have to have this equalizer. I can't just do it with my fist. I can't just do it. Talking's obviously not working, right? The zero policy is not working, So, and the sad part is you always get teachers, the teachers are there seeing it. Like teachers see everything. There's always a teacher around,
see everything. And they just
the fact that
fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Their hands are so tied on how they can deal with things that it's easier not to deal with things.
Right, and just push it on to the next grade. Let me just make it through this year. This will go. And that's the same thing with, kid not being able to read, kid can't do math, kid, that. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm just going to I'm just pushing them through. I'm pushing them through until they're fucking lost.
I had these two kids in ISS one time. And, I never had any problems with my ISS. But, like, one of the things that they almost
what's ISS?
In-school suspension.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
So it was like the things where like it wasn't bad enough where like the cops just got called and hauled you away, but it was like they were like, well, we have to put you somewhere till like the end of the day.
Right.
And so normally what they would do is if there was a fight or something, they would like either send the kids home or I'd get one and then the other would go like home or somewhere else or whatever.
Right.
They almost never put them together, obviously. Right.
Right.
Well, one day they put these two kids together who had been fighting and they show up in my room and I'm just like, are we gonna have a problem in here? And they're just like, no, we should be fine. Well, they started going at it. I remember I was like standing, we were doing a fire drill and they started going at it because like there's normally I keep them really separated, right? And so like standing next to each other, they started going at it. I remember I kind of like I was standing like kind of right next to them and I just kind of looked at both of them and I was like, hey, look, guys, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. And I was like, the hard way is gonna be me taking both your heads and smashing them together. Neither of you are gonna like that.
Right. And guess what? And I'm gonna blame it on you guys.
Absolutely.
And nobody's gonna suspect me.
Absolutely. And they both kind of looked at me and I was like, we can try this if you guys want.
Right.
And they were like, no, we're good. And I'm like, that's what I thought.
It's funny you say that. Like, so when I got like, so I was a wrestling coach when I got out of college, and it was like pulling teeth to get kids out for the team. And that's why I like kind of get like, I get a little angry and people are like, oh, grappling. Like, where were you when I was trying to fill a fucking roster? Right. So anyway, so I got a problem with this. So, but I would go into like detention and like any like physically kind of fit kid, I'm like, how much you weigh? I'm like, okay. I'm like, he's coming with me. He's like, really? I go, yeah. I'm like, don't worry about it. I go, it's going to be a lot worse than what he's got going on here.
Right.
I go, dude, if you want to fucking survive the week, you can fucking stay. If not, I go, you're going to be in detention here. And really show up, fucking done. I got like a couple kids,
Yeah.
But it's like, but yeah, dude, you're like, even myself, like I was wrestling since I was in like second grade, right? And even me, like I would get scared. Like if a kid was like, you don't know, right? When you're getting bullied, I had older kids that would fuck with me. And, then realizing that, wow, they don't know shit about fighting. And I could just take them down and just punch them in the face.
Know when you're a kid, right?
Just zero clue.
No,
and every time, regardless of how many past successes I had, I was always still scared.
Yeah.
So I understand, like regular kids like freaking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
There's one story. My mom, it's funny. I was like carrying like a stack of books. And again, this is the generation. So there's this kid, he's like pelting me with snowballs. And I'm like carrying the books. Finally, I'm just like, screw this. I put the books down and I just fucking just took the kid down and started hammering him. Both moms, my mom and his mom, get out of the car. And then my mom's like, don't you dare. She's like, you didn't say a word when your kid was throwing snowballs at my kid. Now let him take his medicine. But that was it, man. I was like, okay. And I remember getting in the car, I'm like, am I in trouble? I was thinking about like my dad kicking my ass and doing this other shit. She's like,
yep.
No, blah, 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 blah. She's like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Good.
I was like, you're pretty good now.
Yeah, my parents always told me, same thing I told my kids, like you're allowed to defend yourself, but if you ever start it, you're in trouble.
Yep. You better win that fight because you ain't going to win the fight when you get home.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Mike writes, his coach begged his son to wrestle in his junior year. Nobody would wrestle him. He won a season wrestling one time. Yeah, nice. You have monster children, Mike. His kids are like 7 feet tall. It's like, yeah, who's doing that? It's like, I got to go with Andre the Giant. Even if I'm Hulk Hogan, it's still Andre the Giant. But yeah, it's funny shit. Like kids that would I had one kid that signed up for wrestling and he thought it was professional wrestling.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like,
he thought it was wrestling.
I'm like, okay, I like what you're doing. But he wound up turning out to be okay. Kenny, he's like, I'm so friends with him. He lives in Japan now. Because he did we did judo together or stuff like that. But yeah, just tough freaking kid. Yeah, 7 foot 330, 6'9", 290. Yeah, exactly, Mike.
Jeez.
What are you doing? Like, goddamn, bro. Like shit. So yeah, there's one video I want to show. get your guys' feedback, and then we'll call it a day, a night. There we go. All right. So you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go.
Choose your destiny. Choose your destiny. Flawless victory.
Fucking great, dude.
Where this dude come from?
Everybody's like, who's that guy?
He's like a superhero.
I like he just
Random
disappeared.
pepper spray dude.
I feel the guy with the it's like the guy with the first dog's like long gone.
There's a karate kid
Right.
with a sweatband around his head.
So, a couple things, right? You know, that I'm taking besides of like,
Where do you find these videos?
dude, it's fucking awesome, man. So one is like, yeah, guys got, you know, you're looking at this shit. Okay, dog off a leash. Dog wasn't aggressive, right?
Mm-mm.
You know, granted, as a dog owner, not like right now, I'm in between dogs and I'm enjoying it. You know, if I'm walking, I'm not walking my dog off lead on like a city street. That's insanity,
Yeah.
right? You know, Jesus Christ. Especially since the last two dogs I've owned were bull mastiffs, so it's not like this little Pomeranian fucking thing. I mean, you see a 150-pound dog like coming down at you. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's gonna, you know, your asshole's gonna quiver a little bit, even though he ain't gonna do shit, right?
It could be the nicest ever, but that'll crush a kid.
Doesn't matter, dude. There's one story, like the last dog we had didn't hump anybody except one of my son's friends. And when I say like hump, the kid was standing, and all of a sudden I see Butcher puts his paws on like his back shoulders, and I'm watching in the window. I'm like, no! The dog's like, you're right. The dog's like, I guess this one's for me. Cool. But like all the kids that came through my house, like that was the kid he wanted a hump. All right. You know. So anyway, but you know, here you have a guy like walking his dog off lead, and the guy with the lead, you know, you got to kind of let this shit play out. You know, where he starts kicking the dog away. The dog's not aggressive. Normal people, I mean, the Mortal Kombat fucking music's great, but you know, normal people are like, I get that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of aggressive.
Yeah, I get that. That's right. I get it. Now, this guy's an asshole with his dog off lead going at him, you know, and they're like, okay, now the dogs are like, look at the dogs.
And the dogs are cool now.
Yeah.
Look at the two dogs. They're like butt sniffing and wagging tails, you know.
Right. And, you know,
It looks like it needs to be the dudes on the leash.
And pepper spray guy's great. Hey, you know, he's trying to break up a fight. He's been waiting to do this his whole life. I get it. I'm not saying like, you know, but now look at this. Assuming that's pepper spray, right?
Yeah.
How much effect? It had zero effect.
Yeah, because it hit him in the back.
Yeah. But even if I don't know what was in that canister, dude, I carry like bear spray and some nasty shit.
It gets spicy in the cloud.
Yeah, I'm like, nobody. If I sprayed the stuff that I carry, again, nobody here is fucking doing this. Everybody's going home.
Yeah,
you know, for the most part. Again, like there's times where look, and this is why you don't depend on this shit 100%. What you really wanted to do is just like get people to react so you can get out or continue hammering them. But here, I'm like, the chances that 4 people are not affected, and
it makes you wonder what was in it.
Yeah, because the animals aren't even affected.
Yeah, that's true. And he sprayed a lot.
Right.
It wasn't like a little bit. Yeah.
Again, it's not pepper. I don't know what the hell that was. That could have been like silly string because it had zero effect on anybody.
Yeah, they should have been at least coughing or something.
Yeah, and the dogs are still like, "Hey, man, what's going on?"
Yeah.
They're like, that dog that's off lead would just be like gone. He's fucking hanging out like it's fucking a Saturday. And I love all these fucking people getting involved, breaking up fights with all the little dogs in their arms. Good shit. But again, not a life or death situation, but I mean, from where from, if it's like a real like assault, you could be justified in spraying a third party to break up a fight. You can, because that's it. You can do it. But yeah, that kid better get his money back because I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, it's weird. You're right. It had zero effect. That is weird.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. Must be like, silly string.
Yeah, maybe the dogs need to keep their owners on a leash. It looked like to me the dogs were acting like they had some sense.
Hey, the Pomeranian came in hot.
Yeah, right.
He came in hot.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hey, it's just excited. Check him out. But you could tell, like, if a dog's like, it has a different posture. If it's like aggressive, I mean, it's like ears back. It's like tail flat. It's like fucking let's go.
For sure.
I've
done that. I've kicked a dog away, not to hurt it. Right? He wasn't trying to like pump the dog. He was just like, hey, get away.
No, just fucking, but to create space.
Yeah. I've just kicked it. I've done the same thing, created a little space and then just walked away,
you're an asshole for running.
Control your dog, dude.
You're an asshole for having your dog off lead in the fucking middle of the fucking city. What are you doing? I don't care how many, Caesar videos you watch. Tough shit. You don't know. It's an animal. You don't know what he's going to do. What squirrel he's going to decide to chase. What dog he's going to be like, fuck that thing. That guy's an asshole. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're operating on a completely different level. So, all right, guys. So let's call it. Thanks everybody for joining us. I appreciate the the comments. Clayton, Josh, we're going to be good to go next week. I think George will be back.
Cool.
He's threatening. He's been teaching at the police academy this time during the week. So all good. So everybody, thank you for joining us. And good luck to my daughter, Olivia, who are going out to LA. She's running in the LA Marathon on Sunday.
Oh, good luck.
It's her first marathon. She'll be training for that. So, And that's it. Everybody, until next time, train honestly.